Hi, good afternoon. We recently did a workshop with first responders and Department of Public Safety in American Samoa. And I wanted to share some of the things that we shared with them, as well as information that we need as parents to help our children in situations that may be upsetting or have anxiety or stressful. For example, if we have a tsunami warning and all of a sudden everybody is packing up things, jumping in the car and going, this can be very disturbing for a child with developmental disabilities or autism. That sudden change in schedule, that transition may set them off and they may not be cooperative just because they're having high levels of anxiety. So we wanted to talk a little bit about what we can do in these types of situations to help our children to get through it. First of all, let's back up a little bit. What is a developmental disability? A developmental disability is a disability that occurs during the developmental years of anywhere from pre-birth up into adulthood, usually 18 as far as 21. So anything that happens during that time that can affect the development of a child is called a developmental disability. For example, a genetic disability such as a heart condition or Down syndrome occurs pre-birth. Then there's conditions that may occur during the birth process, such as cerebral palsy. And there's other disabilities that may occur as the child is growing up, such as a spinal cord injury or a head injury. Other examples of developmental disabilities include Angelman syndrome, autism, ADHD, speech delays, mental illness, intellectual disabilities. They may result in the child not being able to communicate or speak well or not at all. Maybe they're physically impaired or intellectually impaired. They might have social or neurological challenges, hearing loss, or be blind. We have these decals now available at PCSN. You could stop in our office or give a call. These are decals that can go onto your car or onto your home that will alert a first responder that there is an individual inside with a developmental disability or autism. This will help them to understand that the person, when they encounter them, might be scared. They might appear to be hostile, but they're not. They might be non-compliant. They might try to run away. They may not understand instructions. They may not be able to talk. They might be upset by loud noises and lights. Okay. And they may resist help completely. So if you'd like one of these, just contact us. We have these decals to be able to go into your car and home. Talking a little bit now about de-escalation, which is how do we calm someone down who is in a heightened state? Maybe the person, like I said before, there's transition happening, everybody's running around and they're upset, or maybe something was that they were expecting to happen got canceled and that set them off too. How can we help these individuals to be able to calm down or to regulate themselves? Okay. Uh, the first things we're going to do is call the three R's. We want to first of all help them to regulate. Then we want to relate to them, validating the feelings, and then we're able to reason with them, discuss what happened and how we can improve on it next time. When the person is in a dysregulated state, that is they're acting out, or they're having a lot of trouble coming under control, this is not the time to scold them or to try to reason with them or try to explain what's going on. We need to help them get back into a regulated state before they're able to take in information. At this point, I've had one young man let us know that when he was in this dysregulated state once, when he came out of it, he said, I was so scared. I couldn't control myself. I didn't know what to do. So he wasn't at a point where he couldn't even take instructions or someone to help him out. He just was very scared. So understand that they are not trying to be rebellious. They aren't bullying. They're just dysregulated and they need our help. Okay. How can we help someone to regulate themselves? First of all, just build a sense of calm and safety around them. You may just need to pattern it. Sit calmly yourself. We also want to make sure that we get the area safe. If there's other people in the area, move them out. If there's things or objects that the person could throw or harm themselves with, get them out of the area as well. Maybe turn the lights down or eliminate any extra noises to help a more calming environment. Other activities might be hugs. Some kids don't like hugs, so you can't do that. But some will respond well to that deep pressure, such as even a weighted blanket might be helpful. Rhythmic activities or just and demonstrating calmness to them and talking quietly, or maybe just some soft music in the background. Some kids regulate better with activity, such as jumping or dancing, or maybe some yoga. Once we get them started to become regulating, we can also use like art activities. Maybe just sit down and start coloring and see if they're able to stop and join into that activity. Taking deep breaths if they respond to you. A drink of water sometimes can just reset things, or a fidget object, something like a squishy ball to be able to hold on to. Once we get them into a regulated state, and this sometimes can take a half an hour or more, okay, you might not be able to do anything, but just be there for them and help them to be safe. And it might take half an hour, 40 minutes for them to get regulated. But once they're regulated, then again, it's not the time to start scolding or talking about what happened, but build a relationship with them, get them calm, get them to trust you. And you can do this by acknowledging their feelings, um, being empathetic to what has happened. Ask open-ended questions that encourages them to explain or to talk more, not just yes and no. If they're non-speaking, you can uh, just speak with them about what happened and what you might think they might be feeling and help them to be able to answer. Maybe they have an iPad or do sign language to encourage them to be able to speak. Then we can get into the reasoning stage. And this is where you reflect on what happened and what can we learn from it and how can we maybe do this better the next time. My own daughter, sometimes she's very upset when she can't do something that everybody else is doing. Um, so if she has an outburst and then we wait until she's calm and we talk about it and say, you know, the reason is because they're going to sleep. Okay, we're shutting the door because they're going to sleep. And we're going to let them sleep and they're going to wake up in the morning, then you can play again. All right. But at the time when she was upset, we wouldn't have been able to discuss that. But later on during this reason stage, you can discuss what was happening, give the reasoning for something, and help them to understand why things happened the way they did. Okay. So just a little recap here, be aware of the triggers that might cause your child to have a dysregulated session or where they get out of control and try to avoid those triggers, of course. Model calmness, the way you speak, the tone, the body language. Always understand that they're not trying to be bad. They're not trying to be rebellious. They're not trying to push you away. It's just a reaction to what's going on the inside. Okay. You also want to implement calming strategies as well too. Finally, a little bit about restraints. Restraining is never a good idea. There's only one time when you would actually use restraints, and this is when it might really be dangerous for the person or other people. For example, if the individual with disabilities is about ready to run into traffic, okay, yes, you might need to restrain them and pull them back. But otherwise, restraints only make things worse. We don't want to tie a child to a chair. We don't want to put them in a room by themselves and lock the door. We don't want to do anything that is going to restrain them because this can be very emotionally upsetting and cause problems in the future as well. So restraining is really not an effective plan unless it's a last resort. Okay. So that's what we have today. Um, these slides were taken from West Virginia University Center of Disabilities de-escalation webinar in 2024. They have a really great website, West Virginia University, and they do a lot of work with positive behavioral supports as well to be able to help us with our children. Okay.